I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and I'm here with Susan Downs and Alex Voss, and we are talking about The Big Secret. So welcome to DFW VideoFest, and let's talk about your film. Tell us a little bit about the film.
Well, why don't you?
Well, The Big Secret is, I want to give you the answer to the question right at the very beginning.
We're going to get the secret?
The secret is that you can take control of your health. And what I did was, I was very fortunate to find Susan Downs, MD, and I'm an Emmy winner, and I was getting sicker, and I didn't realize the doctors were giving me advice, and I was following the advice, and I kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I started applying some analysis to it, and I came to the conclusion maybe if I tried something different, then I would have different results. And what I went on this journey to figure out what to do about my health. And what I found was that a lot of the things the doctors tell us, and it's not the doctor's fault, the doctors really have good intentions, but they're run by big pharma and other entities that really limit their ability to help us. And so what I found was that, if I were to I listened to other people, other doctors and people with different points of view, and it came down to, avoiding toxins and then getting the right minerals and vitamins and food into your system. It's what you put in your mouth and what you don't put in your mouth and what you avoid. And it worked for me. Now, I have a long way to go, but, I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 40 pounds, and my health is improving. I have a long way to go. But what I found was that following other ideas was very beneficial for me. I'm going to let Susan take over now and talk about that because she's the medical doctor.
Yes, I see our system as it's kind of reactive. It waits till a part of us gets sick. We get a pill for that,
Right.
which masks the symptoms and creates new symptoms. So that to me is like sick care or disease management. Now there's a movement that's starting in this country, and I've also seen it in other countries, called functional medicine, where we want to look at the cause, what's causing the condition. You can look at the body and see how each pathway is doing. It's called organic acids test. And you can see with each pathway, you can give some supplements or vitamins or lifestyle choices with diet, exercise, and stress reduction to get the pathways going in the right direction. So that preventive, to me, is a lot more useful than waiting till the system crashes and then just trying to mask the symptoms.
Okay. So you're basically talking about stuff, not just fixing a problem and then letting it, and then having to fix it again, but actually something that's more preventative at the end of the day. Okay.
Exactly.
So, do you feel like that with our healthcare system, and no, we're not talking about Obamacare or any of that. Well, there's plenty of people that go off about stuff like that, and that's not us.
That's not the main point.
Right. But do you feel like when you were talking about profitable hospitals and healthcare and all that, that it's, I don't want to say conspiracy, but it's like we don't want to talk about stuff that might, make you healthy and stay healthy. It's more profitable that when you're sick.
Well, one's got to always question this. It does seem that there's a profit motivation associated with the pills. I mean, for example, I was told our video was turned down in certain festivals because we were looking at fluoridation of the water. And I think also the profits, I question why the profit should be going to big healthcare executives and administrators. But I think if people had more information, which is the point of our movie,
Right.
more information so they can be more proactive in their health, at least they know what the questions are and that they can ask their doctor. On this end, I'm going to have a radio talk show on Voice America where we will address these issues and the audience will call in questions.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it sounds like I would get a lot more beneficial information from this than Dr. Oz or anybody else that calls themselves a doctor on TV.
I think they've got a lot to offer. Some of the things Dr. Oz has to say, it's got a lot to offer. I mean, it's information. There's nothing wrong with information.
Right.
I mean, some of the information we have, people might not want to hear. That, we need to take responsibility for our health. We need to watch what we eat. We need to get enough sleep. We've got to minimize toxins. I mean, women can leave their house and have 120 chemicals on their face before they even leave. Do they realize the health implications of this? And they get a baby close to it? For example, autism. It used to be 1 out of 10,000 in the early 60s, and now it's 1 out of 40. Most of it's due to environmental issues.
Wow. So you talk about that you've still got a long journey to go, but
Well, I you know what happened was I realized that I wasn't right, and went to the doctor. They did tests, and they didn't really offer me real solutions. As a matter of fact, they gave me things which made it worse, far worse. For instance, I had low cholesterol already in the 130s, and then they suggested you need statin drugs just because it'd be a good idea. And in the movie, we discuss how actually cholesterol is beneficial. And when they take you down to a really low level, you can get Alzheimer's or dementia. You can have all kinds of things. And so we talk about statin drugs right at the beginning. We talk about the high fructose corn syrup. That about almost a third of the American population has fatty liver disease because they were taking, starting back in the 1980s, they started switching over to high fructose corn syrup. And you see this explosion of obesity, diabetes, and all of that. And we actually go into the history that with this thing, how that certain people decided to manipulate the sugar prices, causing the move to high fructose corn syrup. We talk about the trans fats, how they came about. They were originally a lubrication for submarines, and it didn't work very well to lubricate submarines, so they actually found it made crispy, tasty food, even though it really ruins your coronary system, your heart system, your blood system. And I'm stumbling there a little bit. She could tell you better about that. And
I was told by somebody who had talked to the Obama's cook that they are very well aware of the high fructose corn syrup situation, but they cannot do anything due to the corn interest in our country.
well, yeah.
I mean, people at least should know.
I think when you start talking about products to make things more crispy that used to go on a submarine, I think that should be the big eye opener. I mean, not that I eat McDonald's. I'm 38 years old now, so I can't eat like I was in college. So no more late night fast food after the pub and all that anymore. But I think when you start hearing things like that, it's like it should be kind of a no-brainer.
It was a scientist named Wilhelm Norman back in the 1915 or so, was it? And he, in the German Navy, hired him to make a lubricant for their submarines. And he came up with hydrogenated oil, which is basically, I shouldn't say it, but Crisco, things like Crisco. and so it didn't work very well in the submarines and the boats and so forth. So they tried to make soap from it. It didn't work very well in soap. And so finally they figured out if you fried foods, it's really crispy and really tasty. But strangely enough, it's you correct me if I'm wrong, it's far worse for you to eat than lard. And, or butter. And they were all this time saying, well, the butter's bad and this is good. It was the opposite thing. And, what was the other things we were talking about? We're talking about...
Fluoride.
The what?
Fluoride.
Yeah. Fluoride, we spent a lot of time on that. And glyphosate.
Glyphosate is a big one, the genetically modified products. I mean, the glyphosate, from the insecticide Roundup gets in the plant and absorbs it, and we're eating that. And studies have shown that it's actually changed some of the DNA of the bacteria in our gut. And our gut, the microbiome, is hugely important for our overall health. Fluoride, there's some movies I've seen where you can see the mercury from our fillings seeping into the air. I mean, you brush your teeth, it gets worse. You pick it with a pick or anything, it gets worse. This goes right up in the brain, and mercury toxicity can be associated with a lot of illnesses, including cardiovascular disease.
See, it's also a hexafluorosilicic acid. Hexafluorosilicic acid is a toxic waste byproduct from the fertilizer manufacturing business and from ammonia. What is it? What is the other business it comes from? Aluminum smelting. And
they wanted a place to put it.
Yes, I will defer to her for these questions because I pretty much failed chemistry in college.
Now, okay, so my point that I was making is that mercury and fluoride are considered toxins, so you have to dispose of them in a certain protected way, but yet we can put it in our mouth. Now, my understanding is that fluoride works very well when you put it on a tooth, but it doesn't have a good end when it goes past the tooth into our gut.
Right. So you talk about, you mentioned earlier that information's a good thing. The more information that we have. Now, with your film, are you trying to tell everybody that there's a certain way that we have to live, or is it more about you need to know more and make your own choice?
It's more of the latter. We want people to be more proactive in their own care and not go to somebody who's there's many people that are very well intended, but with 15-minute appointments, they might not know a lot of the nutrition and this other information because they just haven't had the time. We need to take responsibility for our own health and healing and find more information. We need to do it ourselves. We can't have somebody do it for us, is the point.
Yeah. So, you said there's a lot of film festivals that are not accepting this film because...
I just heard a rumor about one.
Oh, okay.
And it's only something that, so something I heard. I can't say any more than that.
Oh, okay. So, what's the biggest thing that you hope that people get from this film?
To wake up and be responsible for your health, question things. Just because politicians love GMOs, it doesn't mean it's good for us.
I think politicians love anything that's going to put money in their campaign.
I didn't want to go there, but I hope that they connected the dots themselves.
I used to do a political show, so this is my show too. I'll be the one to say that and cause the controversy because it's true. But you're feeling a lot better now.
I'm feeling, when I got into it, I didn't believe a lot of these things I was reading on the internet or watching YouTube movies. And there's a lot of people say this one thing and there's someone else saying the opposite thing. And
right.
You have to sort of sort through all the information and come out with the truth. But once I started getting into the truth of the matter, I kept going, this just can't be true. This can't be true. And it turned out it was true. And, it was things like, they're putting this hexafluorosilicic acid in our water because it's a way of disposing of a toxic waste.
Right.
They decided to play games with the sugar prices, and therefore there's this huge epidemic of fatty liver disease and obesity. Here you have, this drug, the statin drugs, and you have an explosion of Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
That is totally related, not totally related, but very close in, if you look at it, maybe 40 years ago, Alzheimer's disease was virtually unheard of.
Right.
And if you look at the Venn diagram of people that take statins and people that have Alzheimer's disease, it's very close. There are some that get Alzheimer's disease without taking statin drugs, but there's a lot that
right.
Great majority
I need to interject here. There could be a difference between causation and association. There's so many things that went bad in our environment, other toxins as well, diet choices, pollution, that I cannot attribute Alzheimer's solely to statins.
Right.
But statins deplete CoQ10, which is an important antioxidant in the body, and that means your muscles will be very bad and can lead to cardiac disease, dementia, and diabetes. Now, when I was in the London airport, there's this big headline, statins cause diabetes. And I thought, yeah, right on. So, you can't say that statins cause it. You just say, as a coincidence, as association,
sure.
But we don't know if it causes it. But something else and a lot of other things,
And she's right on that. We're just noticing.
I'm correcting.
I noticed. And I had
Step on his toes.
I had a lot of doctors that said Dr. Glidden's going to be here, Peter Glidden, and he said that, and so I followed a lot of what he said, and it worked for me. But like when we were doing the movie, she was the one that kept me, where I was correct.
Right.
Because I'm not a medical person.
Right.
I'm a filmmaker, and so she's a filmmaker too, and so we started collaborating, and so she was instrumental in keeping me correct about what
Well,
you're saying.
I think the point is that it's we have to open our eyes and pay more attention and get more information,
Yes.
or we're going to die too young and not live a very happy life.
On that note, I'm going to have a radio talk show on Voice America, so if any of the audience has any questions that we can respond to on air, they can email me at susan@susandownsmd.com.
Okay. All right.
But I don't want to cut you off, so let's
No. We're about to wrap this up. I just wanted to say good luck with the film.
I
And
wanted to throw in one last thing.
sure.
You can see our trailer at www.thebigsecretmovie.com. You can see the trailer for the movie.
We also have a Facebook page of the same name, The Big Secret, A Guide to the New Millennium, and we will keep posted on there where we will be showing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're starting to feel better, and good luck on the rest of the journey.
Yes.